To start drawing this sketch, I'll place the origin at this point, as I want to begin with this circle, and most dimensions are referenced from this point. For example, dimensions such as 1.25, 1.25, and 3.4, among others. Another important note is that the dimensions in this sketch are in inches, so we need to change the unit system in SolidWorks. So first, I draw two circles with diameters of 0.75 inches and 1.5 inches. Then, I draw two circles at this point with a radius of 0.56 inches and a diameter of 0.5 inches. And I also draw two slots in this section. So I enter sketch mode on the front plane. I switch the unit system to IPS and draw two circles with diameters of 0.75 inches and 1.5 inches. When we switched the unit system, SolidWorks automatically exited the sketch. So the unit system is IPS, and we're sketching on the front plane. The diameters are 0.75 inches and 1.5 inches. There are also two circles here, positioned 3.4 inches horizontally and 1.25 inches vertically. With a diameter of 0.5 inches and a radius of 0.56 inches. That equals 0.56 times 2 in diameter. The distances are 3.4 inches and 1.25 inches. Now I draw two slots here. I use the first slot type. And draw another slot from the same points. With dimensions of 1.25 inches, 0.76 inches, and a radius of 0.75 inches. And this dimension is 0.76 inches. Here I slightly reduce this dimension. This point is located 5.5 inches horizontally and 2.75 inches vertically. The horizontal distance is 5.5 inches, and the vertical distance is 2.25 inches. Now to draw this section, as you can see, two arcs are used, one with a radius of 4.2 inches and another with a radius of 1 inch, with its center at a vertical distance of 1.25 inches. So using the arc tool, I start from this point, like this. Up to this point, the radius doesn't matter. Then using the arc tool again, I draw from this point to here, like this. a radius of 4.2 inches, and a radius of 1 inch. This arc and this entity are tangent to each other. These two arcs are tangent to each other, and this arc is also tangent to the circle. As mentioned, the center of this arc is at a vertical distance of 1.25 inches. So I select these 2 points and set the distance to 1.25 inches. Now for the upper section of the sketch, there's another arc with part of it trimmed. So I draw an arc with a radius of 6 inches here. From the second circle I drew, I create a straight vertical line from its semicircle to intersect the arc. Then from the intersection point I create a fillet with a radius of 0.38 inches. This section can also be considered a fillet with a radius of 0.38 inches, but in this case, SolidWorks cannot create a fillet here, because the line we created here would completely disappear, and SolidWorks cannot generate a fillet at this exact point. So we have to use the arc tool to draw this section. I'll explain this section in more detail later. First, I draw an arc with a radius of 6 inches. Using the arc tool, third type. Connecting this entity to this entity. Like this. Then I make this arc tangent to this entity. And similarly, I make these two tangent here as well. A radius of 6 inches. As I mentioned from the semicircle section, I draw a vertical line intersecting the arc. SolidWorks automatically highlights the 4 circle points. From this point, I draw a vertical line to the arc, where you can see the vertical constraint applied. Then, using the fillet tool, I create a fillet with a radius of 0.38 inches. We'll apply the fillet at the end of the process. Now for this part, I draw a line from the semicircle. Make it intersect vertically with the curve. Let's first trim the extra entities here. I'm going to create a fillet here. I open the fillet tool, set the radius to 0.38 inches, and apply the fillet at this point. As you can see here, SolidWorks is displaying an error. That's because the line segment here is only about 0.19 inches long. So I can't create a fillet with a 0.38 inch radius here. This means that creating the fillet would make the entire line disappear, leaving no segment behind. So SolidWorks won't create the fillet here. What should I do? I undo back to before drawing the line. Using the arc tool, I select the third type and connect this point to this one. Then I make these two tangent to each other. Make these two tangent as well. And set the radius to 0.38 inches. As you can see, these 2 points are no longer horizontally aligned, meaning the curve created here isn't a perfect semicircle. I trim the extra entities and apply a fillet with a 0.38-inch radius at this point. The sketch is now fully defined.